It was a completely new idea, and I was impressed with the idea because it was such a dramatic change on how long-term care is to be offered.
It's obviously a wonderful concept for people to live together in a group and have a much better living style.
And we are finally going to give the elders that live in institutions the respect they need.
You don't get a chance to make a difference often.
It's a multi-denominational but faith-based organization.
We make the best out of the institutional model that we have, but we're moving towards something that we think is much better. In the cottages, there's no nurses station. There's a study where nurses can do the things that they need to do, but there's not a nurses stations where all the elders are lined up around it so they can be monitored. There are no long hallways with bedrooms off of each side. In the cottages, there are 10 bedrooms around an open floor plan. The elders in the cottages won't be sleepy at breakfast time because they can wake up when they want to wake up.
There's a distance in an institution, and what appeals to me about the cottages is that it is very much driven, it seems to me, from my perspective and from my ministry and caring for people at various ages, it's about the whole person.
In the institutional environment, the staff have to focus on creating efficiency. They have to focus on schedules, on getting people at certain places at specific times. But in the greenhouse, the focus changes. It's on creating life for elders. That's something worth waking up for.
What we have now is a rather depressing model.
So you go back far enough and you look close enough, you can find a time in our history when institutionalizing people with mental illness or dementia or physical frailty or disability, when institutionalization represented a step forward, a step ahead for how human beings cared for and looked after the less fortunate among them. Well, now we live in a new time. It's a new history is being made.
This new model is a significant improvement, and I think that it will revolutionize the industry and cause the standard of care to be changed.
It's in our nature to seek and to be nourished by community. And that's what Greenhouse is really all about. It's about making communities that bring together the Shabazim and the elders and the families of all those who are part of a greenhouse, bringing them all together in one place where they can make magic happen.
It's not just about the place. We've also created a whole new model of care. In a traditional nursing home, you have levels of bureaucracy with bosses of bosses. But in the cottages, the real person in charge is the elder. They, along with their shabaz, which is a new word that replaces a CNA or a certified nursing assistant, work together, along with a visiting clinical team, to create the most positive experience possible. The Shabazin are certified and they receive 120 hours of additional training.
Started a program to look into the future of St. Martin's and realized that we had to replace the aging nursing home at some time in the future. And so when a different option came along, it made sense to look at it, so that I went over along with another board member and to Tupelo, to the first greenhouse. And it was it wasn't rocket science to figure out that they certainly had a better model than the traditional nursing home.
Wow, this is a great concept, but I bet it costs more to build. I bet it costs more to operate, and probably wouldn't work here at St. Martin's. We signed up though for a workshop that was being held in Tupelo that included an explanation of the greenhouse model. It included a tour of the first 4 greenhouses that were in operation, and we discovered there that the greenhouse cost really no more money to build than what we were planning. It's truly a realignment of resources. The buildings are simply the vessels where a new model of care takes place. And so we attended, several staff members attended the workshop. We sent several board members to subsequent workshops, and all of us came away convinced that it would be a big mistake to build a new improved institution. We became focused on building houses that elders would truly call home.
I think the proof is been demonstrated in several different ways. First, I would argue the hands-on practical proof is seen in, I saw it as an individual in Tupelo, hands-on, saw that people were different, people were happy.
Dr. Rosalie Kane from the University of Minnesota has conducted a number of really terrific studies that show that people living in a greenhouse have a better quality of life and better health outcomes. But there's something even more than that, beyond that. It's people flowering into the full potential of their lives. We see this among the Shabazim frequently. People who were once working hard in a job that was too small for them, now are able to expand and fill the role of Shabaz and actually become the midwives of elderhood.
And for me to be able to nurture the elders and give them the care that they need, it makes my day. At the end of the day, I go home and I feel like I've accomplished something, during that day. To see them smile, to see them button their own shirt, put their own shoes on, just their quality of life has improved, and that makes me feel better.
Most everything is done for you here. Some people, we can do a lot for ourselves, but some people can do nothing for themselves. And it's wonderful that they can have it done for them.
We believe it's time for elders to be able to help make decisions on how they live in their house, about when they wake up, about what time they go to bed, about when they eat and what they eat, about how much they want to be involved in contributing to their house. We believe it's time to build an environment where staff members who care so deeply can provide the kind of care that they want to provide. And we believe it's time to change the world for people living in nursing homes.
What I see in the cottages is that there's a real bridge built between the family, the resident, the elder who's going to be living there, and the staff. And it's more than just what does the resident or the elder need. It's how is the resident and the elder going to be cared for in totality. And it seems that the staff in that is really freed up to address more than just specific issues that they might be trained for. Instead, they're really thinking about what's the care of this individual, this resident need today and at this moment.
As you drive up to the cottages, you notice houses. It doesn't seem as though you're approaching a hospital or a healthcare facility. The trees and landscaping look like home. You take a sidewalk along the street to an inviting front porch, and you approach a front door and you ring a doorbell. And you only enter if invited to do so by a staff member or an elder living in the house. When you enter the house, it feels like home. There's a large den with lazy boys, a fireplace, there's a big open kitchen, and the elders have access to the kitchen. There's a big countertop. There's a cookie jar on the countertop, maybe even filled with cookies that an elder had baked. There's a large table where everyone dines together. There are 10 elders who live in the house, so there are 10 bedrooms, and they all have their own bath.
Just the idea that you don't have to eat the same breakfast that every 15 people on your hallway may have that given morning. You actually get to come to the table or tell the caregivers what you want for breakfast, and that's going to be your breakfast versus what a dietitian in an institution way down the hall has said you're going to get this morning.
Remember, the greenhouse is different. It's not a facility, it's not a unit, it's not an institution. a greenhouse is a community of people, and that the Shabazim and the elders come together in that community to create a life worth living.
Very, very exciting. It's been years that we've been doing this, and it's exciting to finally be standing here on the ground when we're actually turning dirt. The only thing that can top it is the day we move in the door.
For us to fulfill this and for us to make our goal, it will take a commitment from people who know St. Martin's well, and it's going to take a commitment from people who are just hearing about the project, but they know it's the right thing to do. It is so obvious that it is the right thing to do that we need commitments of time, energy, resources, and that's financial resources of people from every level of the community in this area to make it work.
St. Martin's is able to borrow sufficient funds to build 2 to 3-story greenhouses. That means there'll be 3 different units with 10 elders in each unit, so that's room for 60 elders. We need to build 4 of them, which would be for 120 elders. And we cannot build the other 2 unless we can raise a considerable amount of funds in the community.
They don't call on the community very often for gifts, but when you have a change of direction, which this in part is, some seed money needs to flow in, and so that is a pressing need to get this new concept off the ground and running successfully.
This is the first set of greenhouses in the state of Alabama. Congratulations! Wow! Yes! It's fantastic. You've put a flag in the sand. You've said this dream can come true in Alabama.
I would love to see this concept work magnificently well so that people from other homes begin to come here to try to see how it works, and we can help spread the word that there is a better concept for retirement living.
Oh, I think the cottages they're building are going to build are just wonderful. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get in there.